Hello there, friends, and welcome to episode 68 of That One Gaming Podcast. My name is Colin, but I'm otherwise known as Delicious Morsels, and here with me today is Lucas, aka Carn9. How are you today, Lucas?
I'm doing good.
Very good. And we've also got Neal, better known as VMK89. How are you today, Neal?
I'm doing pretty well.
Awesome. If you are new to this podcast, welcome. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, or one of the many other podcasting platforms out there where the three of us get together every other week to talk about a variety of topics in the world of gaming. And today we are talking about kart racers. First popularized by the game Super Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo, these games typically involve characters racing against one another in go-karts and other various types of vehicles, with items and power-ups scattered across each track to add a layer of strategy and excitement to the races. But before we get off to the races, we like to talk about the games that we have been playing since the last episode. So, Lucas, what have you been playing?
Well, I've been still kind of trucking along with Pokemon Crystal Monobug. It hasn't been going great.
Yikes.
And by that I mean I beat the Elite Four and beat all 8 of the gym leaders in Kanto, no problem. And then I got to Red. His Charizard is a problem.
Yeah. Lucas was streaming this a couple weeks ago and was playing it on Magic, and the red fight is rough for the bugs.
Yep. So I'm confident if I can get past Charizard and then subsequently Espeon, I'm in the clear.
It's just getting past those two.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
Yep. Espeon's not so much of a problem, but definitely Charizard. Because after Espeon, it usually is just one Pokemon left, and that's Blastoise, who's the only Pokemon on Red's team I haven't seen come out yet. I found some interesting ways to manipulate the order in which he sends out Pokemon, which is pretty cool and pretty useful, because, I can kind of plan around that then. Like, if I beat Pikachu with Venomoth that I send out first, specifically to make Red use up all of his full restores on Pikachu by putting it to sleep. If I beat Pikachu with Venomoth, then it sends out Snorlax. But if I beat it with any other Pokemon, he goes right to Venusaur instead. And then, once Venusaur's down, Snorlax will come out. Or, if Snorlax comes out, then Venusaur comes out next. And then there's been one occasion where I have been able to get Espeon to come out before Charizard, because Charizard almost always will come out after Venusaur. And that was, I believe, because the AI kind of cheats and reads your move selection when selecting moves. And instead of going for Light Screen immediately with Ledian against Venusaur, I went for Ice Punch to try and just get through Venusaur as fast as I could. And the AI switched into Espeon from that. But yeah, most of the time it just ends in Charizard because, well, I can usually get through Venusaur without it having Sunny Day set up, because Venusaur has Sunny Day in order to use one-turn Solar Beams. It also greatly increases the amount of HP restored by Synthesis, which makes Venusaur kind of tanky. But everything I have basically is super effective against Venusaur, so its tankiness is kind of whatever. Anyways, regardless of whether or not I can make it through Venusaur with Sunny Day set up and with a Light Screen set up, if I have a light screen set up going into Charizard, no sunny day active, basically best case scenario, flamethrower still one-shots everything.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yep. It's an even bigger problem because it still one-shots Ledian, who has the best special defense on my team.
Oh.
Yeah. And when your light screen setter can't survive a flamethrower and also has the best special defense among bug Pokemon, I think, period, you have a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been doing laps of the Elite Four to try and level up and also like save money to buy vitamins to go fast, hopefully. My best bet right now is like getting Venomoth, I think up to 166 speed, and then the 12.5% badge boost from the badges that actually work properly in this game um, will push my speed stat up and over that of Charizard's, giving me the theoretically best chance of putting it to sleep and dealing with it that way.
Yeah, that's probably the only way you're going to be able to beat that thing with bugs is to get it put to sleep where it's just forced to skip its turns.
Yeah. And I've tried a couple other things. Like right now I've decided that it's just more useful to have focus band on my Heracross than it is to have black belt. Because if focus band triggers and I'm at 1 HP, then I'm getting like I think it's like base 220 power on reversal, which is fighting type flail. And so yeah, I've tried that against Charizard because I figured, hey, focus band should survive, right? I've had it trigger a total of 2 times in all of my battles. So yeah, even with stab reversal, base 200 power reversal only does half damage to Charizard. Which, I mean, granted, flying resists fighting, so yeah, but Heracross is also like one of my strongest physical attackers too, on top of having stab for reversal, and yeah, it ain't pretty. uh, yeah. Also been playing a little bit of a game called Hollow Knight. It's got bugs in it.
It sure does.
The game has a lot of neat charm to it. Like, always happy to see the stag whenever I come across one of the stations.
He just comes screeching in.
Yeah. Game's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Game's definitely tough though. It's got some quirks about it that I don't really care for, but like the whole having to track down your shade to reclaim your loot.
Yeah, it's all of the Souls influences on the game.
Yeah.
That really don't sit well with me either.
I did find out that there is in Dirtmouth, there's a locked building that you need a simple key to open up all the way to the right side. Apparently, you can give the bug in that building rancid eggs, and she will bring your shade to you.
Interesting.
But yeah, that also requires going all the way back to Dirtmouth.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, that's kind of less convenient.
Less convenient, but it's nice that option's out there.
It's nice it's there, yeah. Yeah, the thing that really I didn't really care for the most was the amount of walkbacks to the boss rooms. The length of some of those and some of the rooms that you had to go through to get there are just too much.
And
like you,
I mean,
you compare it to like a Metroid game where like the Metroid game, they have a save station like at most a couple rooms adjacent to whatever boss room you're going into. So you never really have to like use resources to get back to the boss if you die.
Sometimes some of them are a little bit of a walk back, but you also aren't forced necessarily to immediately walk back in order to claim back all of your geo that you lost and have the ability to fill your soul vessel fully.
Yeah, I stopped playing in the Soul Sanctum at that boss there because the boss itself I don't think was that terribly difficult. The problem was getting to the boss.
Yeah.
I would use up all of my resources constantly just getting back to the boss because the enemies in that area you can try and just run straight to the boss, but those enemies are going to chase you all the way there. It's better to just fight them and get it over with. And then doing so, you're using your resources because you're probably getting hit.
Yep.
And
by the time you get to the boss of the Soul Sanctum, you've gotten like 15 geo, an empty soul vessel, and maybe 3 masks in your health bar.
Yeah. So that was where I decided it's like that. I recognize the brilliance in this game. It is a very, very well made game. It is a beautiful game, but it's not for me.
Yeah. It's frustrating also that like your soul and health upgrades are like Legend of Zelda Heart Piece style rather than Metroid Energy Tank.
Yeah. And I haven't found any upgrades to my health either, so that's also
I know
not helping. It's like, shouldn't I have found at least a single hearts container worth of health upgrades by now, just naturally exploring?
Yeah.
I found nothing.
I would say I'm probably over halfway through the game right now, and I have 1 extra health in my health bar, and that was because I had like 5,000 geo to blow at the store in Dirtmouth, and I bought 4 mask pieces. And I bought 3 soul vessel fragments. I think I found maybe 1 of each naturally so far, and this is also like with a lot of circling back to earlier areas now that I have a bunch of mobility upgrades. Ugh. Yeah. Who wants to talk about bugs some more? I know I do.
Are we talking about what I think we're talking about?
Probably.
More bugs.
So, beginning
these
of
bugs dumb?
Yes. So I guess I would say beginning of this year, but it was technically New Year's Eve. I caved and I bought one of my eBay saved search items. And that was a Apple iBook G4 model A1134. It's a 1.42 gigahertz single core power PC. Like I think there was maybe like 1 model of PowerBook G4 that had a better CPU, but not worth the extra expenditure for me personally to shell out the extra money for the higher end PowerBook G4. Like not that serious of a collector, and personally I kind of like the look of the white polycarbonate MacBooks. So I've been revisiting some old Mac OS X stuff. One of which was a game that we had on our school computers back in the day called Bugdom. It's like a 3D action game where you are a pill bug. You're going around rescuing ladybugs and unlocking gates and finishing levels. Believe it or not, that was actually my first time playing it. I had only ever seen someone else playing it on the I think it was like an iMac G3 in the library at my elementary school. But then like I think it was one night at Magic, we had all had like this weird shared memory moment of hey, does anyone remember this game that was on the school computers?
Yep.
And we were like, it was like all of us that went to that school district. It's like, yeah, I haven't thought about that game in years.
Yeah, I was the one that brought it up at first, and at first everybody was looking at me like I was a madman, and then slowly it dawned on everybody. It was like, oh yeah,
I think I was poking around an abandonware website at the time.
yes.
But yeah, now that I have a appropriate or era appropriate Apple laptop to play around with, I decided to track down Bugdom, and it's a fun game.
I still need to play it.
Yeah. Good news. I know a guy with an iBook G4 that will let you play it.
Really? Who is he?
It's me. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Seeing as you're a pill dog, you can curl up into a ball and go really fast. Yeah. Also, like, seeing as I have a iBook G4 to play around with, I've been doing a lot of that too. Like, I've officially settled on a unofficial enhanced version of Leopard as my operating system, or primary operating system for it. I've got like tracked down a OS 9.2.2 installer for unsupported iBook G4 laptops, and I've got Debian Linux installed on it, as I do, and I like literally sitting in the disk drive for it right now. I've got the installer for NetBSD 10.1 because I was originally going to try FreeBSD on it, but apparently FreeBSD doesn't have the best support for the iBook G4. And actually, I found the use case for NetBSD. I'm so excited. Because yeah, apparently NetBSD still has like full hardware support for the iBook G4s. Yeah. So that's what I've been up to.
It's a lot of bugs.
A lot of bugs.
Bugs.
What has Neal been doing?
I'm playing a bit of stuff. Been playing various 3D Sonic games. Played a bit of Sonic 06 at Magic a couple weeks ago. That wasn't fun. It was all right. There are definitely enough bugs to be like, this is fine.
You were playing bugs too?
I was! Holy crap. What a great transition. But yeah, also here at home, I have been playing a bit of Sonic Unleashed. I think I mentioned in our 2020 first episode, our last episode, that I stopped playing Sonic Generations because I got sick of it, and the final bosses are just kind of a bore. And Sonic Unleashed is pretty fun. I'd say, well, first of all, the opening cinematic of Sonic in Sonic Unleashed is the best animated Sonic. It is just peak. Especially if you don't look at that bit where he turns into a werehog. Everything before that, fantastic. But honestly, the first couple levels and walking around the town isn't all that bad. The boost levels are pretty good. It's weird for the fact that the buttons are not the same as they are on Generations. That's thrown me. Boost and homing attack are on the same button in Unleashed. So yeah, I was having decent fun with it. I even played into the werehog stage and was having like definitely not as good as the boost stage. It's not remarkable gameplay, but it was fine. And then I got to the boss, and I got wrecked over and over and over. So yeah, after that I stopped playing, gave up on that. I'll have to go through the whole stage again to get to the boss too, which really sucks. But there was no way I was going to continue just banging my head into the wall about this one boss. There is like leveling up and like skills and stuff. It's real weird. So hopefully I can like add new stuff to the werehog to make this boss easier. But it's kind of foreboding considering this is the first werehog boss and I'm already having a ton of trouble. But aside from that, I did recently download the game Broforce along with a bunch of other games because I got a decent amount of Nintendo cards for Christmas.
Very goofy, campy.
It's pretty funny. You basically play as like strict like legally distinctive macho action movie stars. Like there's Neo and Rambo, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator, all of those characters based off all of those, and you go through and shoot terrorists in their bases. Yeah, it's really really cheesy, but really funny. When you beat a stage, the entire stage underneath you blows up as you go up on a helicopter, and it says "Area liberated." It's a lot of fun. I'd like to play it with somebody else, but haven't gotten there just yet. I will report on that when we play it together at some point. But yeah, also I got Super Monkey Ball Mania, Banana Mania, which is just a remake with a ton of added features to the Super Monkey Ball games on the GameCube, Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2. And that's a ton of fun. Always been a fan of Super Monkey Ball. I played the Game Boy Advance version way back when I was a kid. I have a feeling that doesn't hold up, but I've never looked into it. But I also had the iPod/iPhone version for a while, which used the gyro, but since the iPhone gyro is so good, it was actually decent to control.
Nice.
Yeah, and they made a lot of the stages in the iPhone one a lot easier. So there's a lot of them where if you just flip your iPhone so that the back of your phone is facing you and the screen is pushing the monkey ball as fast as possible, you just win in like seconds. This is more like traditional monkey ball with a stick, but it's definitely a ton of fun going back through these stages and being like, oh yeah, I remember this. Oh yeah, I remember this. And there's definitely some harder stages in there. That game looks cuddly and fun, but it can get pretty hardcore later on in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, I also had bought Portal and Okami HD. I think that's really about it for what I bought for Christmas. Oh, Portal 2. Yeah, I bought the you buy Portal 1 and Portal 2 together. But yeah, that's about it. Oh, I do now have the expansion pack for Nintendo Switch Online. I did not realize that it's only $50 a year now. That helps a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always been pretty affordable relative to the other ones.
Right. Yeah, it's always been pretty affordable, but $75 a year was a lot more than I could generally
When was
swing.
it $75 a year?
I could have sworn it was $75 a year at one point.
No, when they first introduced it, it was $20 for a year. When they introduced this expansion pack, it went up to $50.
Oh.
You might have been thinking of one of the family plans. Were you trying to
quite possibly,
unbeknownst to yourself, purchasing a family plan for some reason?
I never purchased it. I just like looked at it. But no, because the base one is just $20, not a family plan. Yeah, because that's how much I had been playing up to this point, and for some reason I thought it was $75.
Nope.
Okay, well I should have done this earlier.
Maybe I am a thing.
Yeah, but yeah, I recommend that honestly. Now that I know it's $50 and you get Genesis, N64, Game Boy Advance on top of all the stuff you get from the base NSO Online, Nintendo Switch Online. But yeah, Colin, what have you been up to?
I haven't been playing a lot of games lately.
That's kind of weird.
I've been kind of like bouncing between a lot, not really sticking to anything because nothing's really felt good lately, I guess. Like I started playing Romancing Saga 2 because I got that for Christmas, and I put maybe 15 hours into it and just wasn't feeling it anymore. And then I started playing Fantasian, and I put like 10 hours into that and wasn't really feeling it anymore. And then I heard a bunch of people saying that the second half of the game gets like super difficult compared to the first half. So I was like, well, I don't like the sound of that either. So I don't really have any motivation to go back to that, unfortunately. It's like it's a good game. I'm glad it exists and that it's no longer held prison on Apple.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was sadly a little bit let down by it in the end. I still bought it twice, so because it ran like donkey crap on the Switch, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, like, it was just like random frame drops, and like the load times in and out of battle felt just a little bit longer than I felt like they should have. So, out of curiosity, I downloaded the demo on PS5 and was like, okay, no, I'm not crazy. It just runs like crap on the Switch. So I bought it for PS5 to pick it up from there, because I only played on the Switch just beyond where the demo would end anyway, so I didn't lose effectively any real progress.
Yeah.
So then when I picked it up on the PS5 again, it was just like, got to a point, stopped playing it for a couple days, and then I just haven't felt the desire to go back, and especially now knowing that once I get to part 2 of the game, it's going to be a spike in difficulty, and just the overall gameplay formula kind of changes a bit, where it becomes less of a linear point-to-point type of story thing. It opens up a lot, and there's like a bunch of like, just basically becomes a boss rush mode, I guess. It's like, no, that doesn't sound good to me. So that's where that sits. So I decided to start playing Xenosaga 2, finally, after a couple of years since I played the first game. I can't believe it's been that long since I played the first game already, because I think I played it in 2023.
Yeah.
So it's been a while, and I've been wanting to get back to it. So I started Xenosaga Episode 2, and holy crap, is this different from the first game in just about every single way. Like, they changed the graphical style for some reason, and a lot of the new character models don't look great. A couple of the voice actors got recast, which hasn't been that big of an issue to me, but some people I've seen complain about that. But what I really struggled with this one was the changes to the battle system, because it's like I don't remember much of the battle system from the first game, but this is pretty significantly different. They introduced what's called the zones mechanic, where basically every single enemy is split between 2 to 3 zones, depending on how large they are. Essentially, like, most enemies are just split between 2 zones, B and C, and it's just like A is upper, B is mid, C is low, and then every single attack is able to hit one of those zones. And essentially what you're supposed to try and do in this is break your enemy's composure by exploiting their weaknesses to specific zones. Like, every single enemy has a specific order of zones that you have to hit in that order to put them in a break state, so that way you can do combos and stuff. But what I don't like about that is it forces you to be very sequential in how you approach the combat in the game, and it's just, I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's better now, later in the game, that I have access to more things, and I've kind of gotten used to it by now. But early on, it was like, man, this is just not as fun as the first game was. But they did make the battles flow faster, at least, because that was my main complaint with the first game. Was the first game was so heavy on its elaborate animations for every single attack that battles just took forever. So they definitely sped that up a bit in this. There's really no like super flashy animations and stuff in this one. It's pretty straightforward stuff, unless you're doing like super big moves. So that's an improvement. The music in the game is really, really good. Like, all of the music in the cutscenes and the game's main theme were composed by Yuki Kajiura, who is known for her work in animes like Dot Hack and Sword Art Online and Demon Slayer. So you got a pretty significantly reputable composer behind this one as well. Yasunori Mitsuda did the first game, but so it's a definite change tonally in the style of music, but it's really, really good. And honestly, I like the soundtrack a lot more than the first game. It actually has a boss fight theme that the first game did not for some reason. Neither did Xenogears for that matter. I don't know why, but yeah, like the battle music is also really. There's another composer that did all the like overworld and battle music and stuff, and that's all really good too. It's got a lot more of a sci-fi feel to it, which I like. Oh yeah, Yuki Kajura also did soundtracks for Mobile Suit Gundam Seed and Seed Destiny.
Hey, those are all right.
Yeah, so it's cool. It's like her compositions in the game are spectacular too. Like you get hit with the title theme right away. Like and all the stuff in the opening cutscenes, it's just like, whoa, this game's got a vibe. But it's pretty good. I think I'm 18 hours into it. I'm pretty close to the end now. This game is a lot shorter than the first game was. I might actually finish it tonight. We'll see. I feel like I'm either one, at most 2 dungeons away from the final boss, so getting pretty close. How long to beat says it's like 26 hours, so it's pretty short compared to the first game and the third one. And it's pretty good. It's definitely the worst of the Xeno games, and like all of them, like I'm including Xenogears and the Blades as well. Like this is definitely kind of like the black sheep game in the franchise, but there's still a lot to enjoy about it, and the story is really, really interesting. It delves into a lot more of the past that of the Miltia conflict, which took place 14 years before the games start, and it kind of builds up on that backstory a little bit, and a lot more stuff around the Zohar, which was the big relic that the whole series is based around, that also kind of ties it to Xenogears. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm probably going to just start Xenosaga Episode 3 immediately after finishing this, because I want to finish both of them before March 20, because that's when Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition releases.
Yeah.
And that will be the last Xeno game that I haven't played at that point.
Yep.
So that's what I'm gonna do. Anyway, let's move on to our next segment, the Hey Listeners segment.
Hey, listen!
Each episode, we give our Discord members a prompt based on the topic of the episode for them to respond to. And if you would like to join the fun, there is a link to the Discord down below, and we hope to see you there. This week, we asked our members for their favorite kart racers, because that's what we're talking about. And we got quite a few write-ins this week. Our first write-in comes from Sheik, who writes Lego Racers 1, the GOAT. I agree. That game was fantastic.
I like 2
Holy
better.
cow.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
2
Yeah.
felt like
I
a
never
downgrade.
played it, so
to
I
be
can't
honest.
judge, but
Well, part of it's probably I played 2 first, so
oh, that'll do it.
Yeah. It was also like 2 was very drastically different from the first game.
yeah.
Yeah, I played the first game a lot on my cousin's computer back in the day. That was a very fun game.
Yeah.
All right. Next writing comes from Brand Flakes, who writes Diddy Kong Racing. I love that they had karts, hovercrafts, and planes. That they did. And our next write-in is from Crystal Lily, who writes Kirby Air Ride. Bring it back, Nintendo. At least do city mode again. That was the best part. We would spend hours playing it, seeing who could get into the volcano first or make it up to the Sky Island thing. It was fun. Next up is B-Man12HK, who writes Sonic Riders has to be, in my opinion, one of the most underrated racing games I've ever played. It was so fun. And then they made the last one on the Xbox Kinect, and it was terrible. I really want Sega to bring that game back or just remaster the first 2. Either that or make another Sonic racing game with only Sonic characters. Yes. I forgot to mention that this episode is actually secretly titled Why Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed is a Terrible Game.
I already did the thumbnail for that. What do we know? I don't know. It's too much more work.
Perfect. Anyway, our last write-in comes from Jazzy, who writes, I don't have much exposure to kart racers, to be honest. Racing has never been one of my top genres, so I've just never been too interested in them. First time I played Mario Kart was Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U in college. I have played a good bit of the Crash Team Racing remake, and that was fun for a time. And by for a time, I mean for like a weekend. Though, actually, I did get pretty into Mod Nation Racers on the PS3 for a bit in high school. Overall, I find kart racers fun enough with friends, but I'm never gonna be motivated enough to play them solo for any extended period of time. And thank you everybody for writing in. Now, let's begin about kart racers. My first one was Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo.
Mario Kart 64 on the N64.
Oof. I think mine was Mario Kart Super Circuit on the Game Boy Advance. Right?
Yeah,
Is there anything else? I don't think there is.
Mario Kart Suffer Circuit.
I definitely did play Mario Kart 64 a bit because they had that in like hotel rooms for a while when
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, between mid 2000s and probably into the 2010s. I know this because I
did not
accidentally
stay in many hotels in that time frame.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there were
I
some that allowed you to like rent consoles from the front desk.
Oh, that's cool.
no, this was like built into the smart TV that they had. It wasn't even like
Really?
What?
smart TVs weren't a thing, but like they had it like built into just you use the remote and you could get into it.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Huh.
Unbeknownst to me at the time, I was a kid. It was also charging money to my mom's card for it, so
Awesome.
that got me in trouble.
Well, they don't tell you those things on purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, that sucked. But
Yeah.
no, so I definitely did play 64, and I think I played Double Dash at one of our friends' houses. There were four of us, and we did the 4-player 2 karts mode where one person is on the back and the other person is driving.
That was
We
fun.
can have 4 people on one screen with just because if you had 2 people in Double Dash, you could play like a proper Grand Prix with other racers. As soon as you went above 2 people or 2 cars specifically, it was back to like just the players on a racing track.
Yep.
So yeah, that was the only way to play 4 players was use co-op mode, and still have like other computers to fight.
Yep.
I don't think I played Mario Kart 64 until I bought a copy for my N64 leading up to our ranking episode for Mario Kart. I think that was my first exposure to that game.
Wow.
I just kind of skipped over that one, and then I played.
It's
Like,
fun.
I'm not
I went-
super hyped
I
about
went-
64, honestly.
I went straight from Super Mario Kart to Double Dash.
Right. And you had a bad experience with that, which you can find out
Sure
about
did.
in our
Yeah.
That One Gaming Podcast episode, episode 14, ranking the Mario Kart series.
That was a while ago.
Yeah. I think that was still in our first year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. October 4th is when that episode came out.
Wow.
I thought we did that in the summer. Huh.
Nope.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know what time is anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Mario Kart.
Any of you guys
64
played
is
any of the-
fun, but yeah, it lacks in unlockables. Also known as I got first place in every cup on every difficulty, and all I got was this lousy title screen.
Either
You're
of you
talking
played any of the
64 that you're talking about?
Yep.
That just gives you a title screen?
Yep.
That's lame.
peak? You
Double
don't really
Dash.
unlock anything in
gives you
Super
the-
Mario Kart either,
Yeah.
but that was kind of the first one.
Yeah.
So then technically, Super Circuit was the first one to have unlockables.
Yeah, but then you had to suffer through Super Circuit to unlock it.
Just because it was the first doesn't mean it was the best.
That's true.
Mario Kart Suffer Circuit. Anyways, you were trying to say, Colin.
Oh, have you guys played any of the Nickelodeon kart racers?
No.
You know, I can't say I have.
Me either, but they keep making them,
They do.
so somebody must be playing them.
Yep.
That and like all of like the Shrek kart racers.
Yeah.
Thing?
Like that's a thing apparently. And also I found this out as I was like going back to what I've been playing. Xenosaga 2 introduces a character called Jin Usuki, who is kind of a character that is loosely referenced in the Xenoblade games, and he himself is loosely a reference to a character from Xenogears, but his voice actor is the Skyrim voice guy.
Huh.
Like you know the voice. He voices like 90% of the male characters in Skyrim.
Yep.
So as soon as I heard his voice, I was like, no, there's no way. There's no way. And I looked it up and it was him. It's like, oh, there's no way. But also scrolling through his voice credits, he's been voicing Shrek in video game form since like forever.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, is the Shrek Dreamsworks Superstar Karts was developed by High Impact Studios that did Ratchet and Clank Size Matters.
Nice.
Oh.
I guess I have to try that out now. Also, Shrek Smash and Crash Racing.
There are a lot of Shrek racing games.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. That's the thing about kart racers is they're very
They make for great tie-ins.
well, they're easy targets for corporations to be like, hey, what kind of game can we make out of our thing to sell to kids? It's like, well, we can make a Mario Kart clone. That's easy enough. Like you see a lot of them. Like Square Enix even tried to get into it with the Chocobo racing games.
Yep.
Which the first one I think was a pretty decent little kart racer, unlike the most recent one that was just a microtransaction ridden cash grab. But yeah, I think my favorite one has always kind of been Crash Team Racing.
Yeah,
Played a little bit.
I haven't played.
I played a bit of the remake.
Is great.
And the remake is fantastic, but I didn't have anyone to play it with. So, because I would always play with my brother, so I didn't really play much of it. But the remake, as far as I could tell, was like almost as 1-to-1 to the original game as you can get. But that game, oh my god, I spent so much time playing that game growing up. Like that was my Mario Kart 64, basically.
Right.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd put like right about on par with Mario Kart 64, if not maybe a little better.
It's so good, and I loved the battle mode in that game. It was so fun.
Yeah. I would play a ton of that over at my cousin's house over in the Thumb when we'd go over there because cousins were PlayStation as opposed to humble Nintendo me. Yeah, my cousin Kyle would routinely mop the floor with us at races, but also battle mode.
Yep.
Oh yeah, battle mode is a thing.
Yeah. I know they've also like beaten every like staff time trials time as well.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Uh-huh.
Well, let's touch on battle mode real quick. How do you guys feel about battle mode, and which was your favorite battle mode?
Battle mode's I still think Mario Kart 64 is probably my favorite.
Yeah, that adds up. Bob-omb Blast on Double Dash.
That was just fun.
Just pure chaos.
It was also fun on the Block Fort from N64 that they had in battle mode and Double Dash.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, not sorry, but Block Fortress I think was still the best stage for battle mode in that game.
Yeah, I'd argue Luigi's Mansion was at least on level with it, if not better.
Luigi's Mansion was fun, but the N64 might have actually just done it best for Mario Kart battle modes.
What were the types of modes in Mario Kart 64?
Battle.
No, like, did it have more than like the flag one or the balloon? There's the balloon battle, Bob-omb Blast, and I think they introduced Shine something or other in
Yeah.
Double Dash.
You
What was
just
it in 64?
just had traditional battle mode.
Oh,
The
just
three
one thing?
balloons. Yeah. Yep.
Well, then I definitely enjoy the Bomb on Blast more than battle mode or balloon mode.
Well, Bomb Blast was very fun. I still like traditional battle mode best though.
Yeah.
They kind of screwed it up in Wii U version though.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were thinking with that.
Yeah.
Did anybody honestly play battle mode here on Wii U for an extended period of time?
No.
Can't say that I did either. And I played a lot of Wii U Mario Kart in college, so
Yeah. Yeah, I think Mario Kart Wii, we mostly stuck to, traditional racing modes.
yeah, I think that's true for me too. Yeah, just the plain Wii was like it was a nice visual upgrade for sure over Double Dash, and
Yeah.
there were a lot of tracks that Double Dash kind of ended up being the black sort of the black sheep with tracks because it was right before the DS one came out.
Yeah.
DS1 was the first to introduce the remakes.
Yep. Yeah. Battle mode was always like a fun novelty to me, but it was almost never the main focus of any of my gameplay.
Yeah, I would say the same thing.
Yeah.
It was especially fun on the DS one, though, because you could play it all on a
Yeah.
single game cartridge.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bring back download play Nintendo.
It was so
Right.
good.
Yeah, Super Circuit was that way too, but that was Super Circuit. So
Yeah.
I did play a lot of DS on other people's DSs for quite a bit because Mario Kart DS was surprisingly good considering it was trapped on I wouldn't say
A
bad.
console with no analog.
Yeah. Didn't even have the circle stick like 3DS.
Yep. Apparently another rare in Nintendo co-developed kart racer on the N64.
Hmm.
It's
Is
Mickey
it
Speedway USA.
Mickey what?
Mickey's Speedway USA.
Ah.
It was a co-developed game with Disney Interactive, so it's Mickey Mouse Mario Kart basically.
Huh.
It's a game I've heard of but have never actually played myself. I guess it's more or less based off of Diddy Kong Racing's engine, but it lacks the drift boosts and stuff, so it's more just like a pure racing.
Okay.
And apparently also allowed you to use the N64 transfer pack to transfer stuff between, or get unblockables through connecting the Game Boy Color version. I had no idea that games that weren't Pokemon Stadium used that. Yeah, apparently you can unlock Huey by connecting the Game Boy Color version through the transfer pack.
Huh.
Try that game out sometime. Yeah. Kart Racers always historically been really popular. Like my parents as well too.
Yeah, well, it's one of those games that it's a very easy to explain to someone who's not a video gamer.
Yeah. It's like a racing game in its simplest form, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
You got one button for accelerate, one button for brake, one button to throw items at your opponent, and you just drive.
Yeah. I honestly the most complicated part about it is the items, and that's depending on the game, usually not that difficult.
Yep, because a lot of the items do surprisingly similar things to each other.
Yeah, because green shells and red shells are easy to. Green shells are straight. Red shells are homing.
Yep, they're basically just the missiles from Diddy Kong Racing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they overlap too. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Or they all almost universally have a boost item of some sort. Like you got the mushrooms in Mario Kart, you got the speed boost in Diddy Kong Racing, you got the nitrous bottle in Crash Team Racing.
Sonic All Stars, I think it's just some arrows.
I think so.
So that gets it across pretty simply what it's gonna do.
Yep. It's almost always like a fake sort of landmine item, like the upside down question block.
Yeah, which has varying levels of how convincing it is throughout the games, which I find funny.
Mario Kart 64's is particularly diabolical because
It is.
it is the same model as the regular item box, flipped upside down.
Yeah, and I think it doesn't spin, if I remember correctly.
It might be.
Or maybe it spins the opposite way.
Could
There's
be.
some very minor additional thing other than the upside down.
It's almost indiscernible though, because like the box isn't transparent. It's got like a rainbow texture on it, and the yellow question mark is upside down, but because of the coloration of the box, it just kind of blends in.
Right, and you're probably playing on a CRT, not an HD monitor, so
Yep. I still think my favorite iteration of the like landmine type item is CTR's TNT box, which you can upgrade to the Nitro box. The TNT boxes in particular are fun because they will give you an opportunity to bounce them off your head. Like you got a 3-second countdown, you can hop to bounce it to someone else.
Yeah,
really fun in battle mode.
Yeah.
I kind of like the bizarre nature of Sonic All Stars traps. Like you get a puffer fish for some reason.
Yes.
And then there's the bees. I love that one of the traps is a swarm of bees.
Why is it always bees?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some games, Lego Racing or Lego Racing 1 at least, and Diddy Kong do the thing where like if you get more and more of the same items, your item like levels up.
Yeah.
Which I assume that's originated in Diddy Kong Racing.
I think so. Maybe alongside Crash Team Racing as well.
Yeah, the time it's line up there.
Because it's been a while since I played CTR, but like I think you can collect Wumpa fruits, and that will increase the power of the items you get.
Oh, interesting. So that's slightly different. Whereas like Diddy Kong, you're picking up the item box again.
Yeah.
But it has like multiple item boxes. I only played it a little bit as prep for this episode, so I don't know too much about Diddy Kong.
Yeah. Diddy Kong Racing is one of the games of the N64.
I find it interesting knowing like
I know
you don't like it that much.
I know it sounds completely like just older sibling contrarian to my younger sister, but
yeah.
I personally don't care for Diddy Kong Racing. This isn't just like older brother Lucas disliking what my sister Brandflakes likes, but Diddy Kong Racing just has never really clicked for me.
I like the fact that it had like an open world to drive around. That was neat.
It drives me crazy that I can't get into that game because that is so cool. Like the open world is cool. It's got multiple vehicles which are cool, but then like you get past the first world in Diddy Kong Racing, and like the first world is basically all kart tracks with Dino Volcano, I think is the last one. That one's a plane track, so your first mandatory exposure to the airplane, which is super fun to fly. And then you get the water world for the next 4 tracks, and most of those tracks are hovercraft, and it's miserable. The hovercraft kills it for me. I just can't.
Yeah, the ones that like do water and air seem to have like varied results of how good they are.
Yeah. Like I like Mario Kart 8 and 8 Deluxe's take on underwater. That's great.
It's just driving though.
Yeah. Probably why I like it, because I don't really like, what is it, you turn into a boat in Sega All-Stars Racing?
Correct, yeah. In Transform specifically, yeah.
Yeah, and the boat seems to have really wild handling.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, and so does the hovercraft in Diddy Kong Racing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I do prefer the flying in Transformed over Mario Kart, just because it's actually flying. If you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah.
They're like, with 7, they're like, you can fly now, and then it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you
I
flied with Knuckles, and that's it.
Yep. You're falling with style. You're
Falling
you're not
style.
piloting an airplane like in Diddy Kong Racing, or which is kind of more what the Sonic All Star Racing Transform flying sections feel like to me. It's kind of
Hmm.
harkens back to Diddy Kong Racing's airplanes.
Yeah. I remember when Transformed was being announced, people were like, oh, they're just copying 7 and 8 of Mario Kart. And then it comes out, and
Nope.
you're like, oh, no, this is very different.
Yeah. The vehicle transformations in that game feel more akin to like the Diddy Kong Racing vehicles than the Mario Kart
Mhm.
takes on them.
Did you switch between vehicles in Diddy Kart? Like on one track?
Uh no. You would it's like a elephant genie out in the main lobby that would give you the option to switch between the three vehicles, but then also like
Gotcha.
some tracks would, if you were entering that track with a vehicle that didn't work with it, they would make you pick one of the vehicles that would.
Oh,
Um, yeah, it's like some tracks would allow your pick of all three vehicles. Then like usually the hovercraft specific tracks would give you the airplane as an option, if I remember.
mhm.
The airplane specific ones would give you the hovercraft as an option sometimes, or it would be just like hovercraft or go kart and plane. Um,
Right.
but yeah, each
Yeah.
track has a default vehicle set to it for like time trials purposes.
Right.
I was actually watching a kind of goofy video beforehand. It was someone trying to unlock TT in Diddy Kong Racing with Crunch, who is arguably the worst character in Diddy Kong Racing. Um, like TT is like the time trials announcer guy. He
Hmm.
is a walking clock. In order to unlock him, you have to more or less like complete the main adventure mode so that you have all of the tracks unlocked in time trial mode, and then you have to beat um or you have to beat the time trial time, but you also like have to beat TT's time, and then you can race against TT's ghost. And if you beat TT's ghost on all of the tracks in the game, you unlock TT,
Huh.
who is arguably the best character in the game.
Well, yeah, I definitely do like All Stars is like how it switches mid stage. And also they do the thing where like the tracks will change via doing certain laps.
Yeah,
Like
that
pieces
was
of the
always
stage will
cool.
like crumble and stuff.
Yeah,
Which Mario Kart 8, the downloadable tracks started doing stuff like that because apparently I think that's what Tour did. So they were
nice.
sort of forced to do it when they were remaking Tour
Yeah,
tracks.
there were a couple in Mario Kart Wii, if I remember correctly, that did that.
Maybe I don't remember.
There's there's like a volcano level of some sort that did it. I don't remember the name.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Mhm.
you're right. Like just bits of it would crumble every time you go around the lap, and on the third lap, there's like really skinny
Yeah.
uh, rows to go on because everything else is crumbled.
Mhm.
That's a really good track.
Yeah.
I think it's called Grumble Volcano.
I think that's it.
Yeah. That one, I'm pretty sure I did the Wii version, but one of the versions of that track, I played the time trial over and over and over again until I got really, really good at it for a little while.
Yeah. I believe that track also has a ultra shortcut in it.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a thing. Shortcuts.
Yep.
I was always a fan of finding shortcuts. It felt like
Yeah.
the first time I really became aware of them was playing Mario Kart 64. with people.
Probably
But
the most obvious one is like Koopa Troopa Beach. Or yeah. There's that little ramp that you need the mushroom, I guess, to hop over, and it like cuts out a big chunk of the track.
uh-huh.
Uh, if you're precise enough with your jumping on 150cc mode only, you can get fast enough up the ramp that with a jump at the very tip of it, you can sometimes clear that.
Huh.
I've pulled wins out of my ass on that track so many times.
Yeah, I feel like Double Dash mostly did this only works if you have a mushroom shortcuts.
As is typical for Mario Karts, really.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
There's not a whole lot of intentional shortcuts in Mario Kart games like that.
Hmm.
Um, there, there are
Yoshi,
there are a few glitchy shortcuts in Mario Kart 64.
I believe
you're,
it.
you're definitely not supposed to hop over the wall at the very beginning of Mario Stadium, and yet I've done it many a time.
Oh yeah, okay. That just clicked what you're talking about. Yeah, that one's kind of infamous
Yeah,
for how crazy it is.
yeah. Or Rainbow Road. It's like if first yellow stripe going down the
Right.
hill, if you jump and make a hard left, you can land on the track on the other side of the track and cut like a minute off your lap time because of how
Uh-huh.
stupid long that course is.
Right. I was gonna bring up. I think it's just called. Is it called Yoshi's Island? Yoshi Circuit. The one that's the track is shaped like a Yoshi sprite.
Oh yeah,
Um,
the double dash track. Yeah.
yes. Yep. Yep. There's actually two shortcuts that both require mushrooms. One is kind of obvious, like you're jumping over his hand.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah,
you still need a mushroom, but it's very clear what you need to do.
yep. And there's a ramp for it too, if I remember correctly.
Maybe in Mario Kart 8 there is. I'm pretty sure in the GameCube you just got to go through some grass, but
That's it.
there's a very clear opening that you have to cut through.
Yep.
And then there's the very hard to hit. If you jump off a certain area, you can go into a little tunnel that'll lead you through and end up way farther ahead on the track. It's not that big of a shortcut. Like it is a completely different route and stuff, but like it doesn't save you that much time. But you do get double items as part of it.
Nice. Yeah. It's always fun, like finding and implementing shortcuts in kart racers.
Hmm. Yeah, when they do it right, it's pretty good. Of like,
Yeah.
you feel like you're accomplished for finding it.
Yep.
Like that one you were mentioning in 64 with the ramp. It's like, well, that's a shortcut right there. But
Yep.
when they hide it and you happen to stumble upon it, it's like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
In Double Dash, my dad just liked driving around and looking at the scenery, so he kept finding shortcuts because he
Nice.
was doing that so much.
Yeah. And Double Dash actually has a couple of shortcuts that don't specifically need items to get through them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's some that are just like, if you go this alternate route, you'll.
Yeah. There's it's like they are an art and shortcuts in a way, because like they take you about the same length of time to go through them, but
Hmm.
they usually reward you with getting a double item box of some sort.
Hmm. Yeah, what is that stage? Daisy? No, not Daisy Cruiser. Daisy Cruiser does have one of those actually, but I'm thinking
Yeah.
of a different one.
The Peach Beach.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's the
That one.
pipe
There's a
that
pipe
you
you can
can.
just drive into.
Yep. It spits you out by the docks, but you get a double item
Yeah,
box out of it.
yeah. Similarly, there's another pipe you can go into in the Toad, the one with the cars.
Mushroom Bridge.
That one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning. You can
Yep.
like turn like 90 degrees at the start and end up in a pipe, and you
Yep.
always get a double item. And that one's super cool because by the time you get through the pipe, you're way back behind everybody else, so you get good items too.
Yeah. Sort of a sandbagging shortcut. It's like
Hmm.
You're intentionally letting everyone else in front of you, but you get 2 really good items at the very beginning of the race for it.
Hmm. Yeah, sometimes when I was going through, like, I don't know how much I did it, like, later in, like, mirror mode, but, like, when I was beating Double
Yeah.
Dash, like, 150cc, I would generally if I was struggling, I would, like, stay back at the beginning, let everybody get ahead, get the item box, and then fly forward,
Yeah.
like a way to, like, slingshot yourself ahead.
Yep. That would work really well with me because I am the awful person that goes Toad and Toadette in Double Dash.
I always
It's
did Toad and either Paratroopa or regular Koopa,
probably
because those
honestly the better pick because that gives you some offense as well instead of just
Mhm.
monopolizing the golden mushrooms to yourself.
Triple shells were a lot of fun. I don't know how many Mario Karts do triple shells, but I got really good in Double Dash with being able to send triple shells at the right timing that you wouldn't get hit by because like you get knocked down and you have invincibility frames. So I would get
Yep.
good enough that I could knock somebody down right when their invincibility frames and send another red shell, and it could be just brutal.
Yeah.
And in Double Dash, you have 2 item slots, so you can have up to 4
Yep.
with how I was set up. So, hi, get hit 4 times in a row, and you can't do crap about it.
Uh-huh. It's like almost as devastating as getting blue shelled.
Uh huh.
Yeah. And like item selection too is one of the things that I like about kart racers over regular racing games.
Yeah, even in like arcade shooters, arcade racers, like
Yeah.
there's just a lot more skill involved.
Yeah.
Like obviously, a driving simulator is going to be the most skill, but still,
Yeah.
like arcade racers give you a lot more challenge of like you have to get good at this.
Yeah. It's like you got to
Or
get
like
good at driving and like here's your nitrous bottle, but like that's only going to do so much for you if you can't drive
Mhm,
worth anything.
right. Like I did really enjoy Need for Speed Underground, but sometimes it would get to the point where it felt like um, whoever crashes the least is the person who wins. Doesn't really matter like how
Yeah.
well you race.
Yeah, the items are kind of the great equalizer of the kart racer.
Mm-hmm. Because yeah, with a kart racer, you can just throw it in front of like a 7-year-old, and they can do okay.
Yeah. Like trying to score extra nitrous boosts by drifting around curbs in NFS Underground
Hmm.
so that you can squeeze out them extra seconds on the time clock to win a race or that yeah,
Yeah,
it's a bit more challenging.
right. I will say though, especially a specific Mario Kart game had a hard time getting balancing right for a while.
Yep.
Um, Double Dash was frantic as heck, but that was more because you were getting 2 items at once a lot.
Mario Kart
Um,
Wii is horribly unbalanced.
yeah, there's like
Uh,
how many 3, 4 items that just like completely knock you out,
yeah,
like have the effect of a blue shell.
yep. Um, but then, and the AI is like super rubber bandy too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Um, but
Is there a
also
way? Is there a way to avoid those POW block things? Because I never figured it out in all the time that I played that game.
might be able to with a hop.
I tried. I can never do.
Then I don't know if there is or not.
But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there is, and it's just stupid timing.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, no,
yeah,
and it feels like the other drivers in that one like would get blue shells crazy
yeah,
frequently.
yeah. But they also, in a way, wouldn't get enough of them. It seemed. It's like, not to sound like how's bragging camp going, but a I pretty regularly would have like a 30-second to maybe like half lap lead on second place by the time I'd
Yeah,
finish in
yeah,
multiplayer. Like,
same. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's honestly part of the reason why that game felt so cheap. Is like
yeah,
once you got good enough that you could win, you like really won
Yeah.
really easily.
Yeah.
And so like the items that are supposed to balance things out just becomes annoyances more than anything.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, a blue shell. Now third place might be able to outrace second place.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and like this was something I really noticed with like playing Mario Kart Wii with my now wife and her sister. It's that like
Uh-huh.
I would play Wii Remote Nunchuck because I liked being able to have tilt controls for doing wheelies on motorcycle, and I couldn't get the
Oh, man.
motion steering down worth anything. I
Mm.
don't know how, but Becca and Allison could like do motion controls like no one's business. Like they would I was fairly consistently first place with Becca and Allison both in second and third trading off usually, and
Wow.
everyone else was behind us.
Oof.
And yeah, also naturally I was playing with manual drifting on, so
Yeah, that's right. I forgot you could do that.
yep. Yeah. That might have been what made the Wii wheel more natural for them, because it's essentially like power steering.
Right.
I don't know if you've ever driven a car that didn't have power steering, but like it's
I had
kind
my
of how
power
it
steering go out on my car.
It sucks.
it does kind of
Mhm.
suck. Like like coming home from Grand Valley going down Fillmore, I used to like if I was running particularly low on fuel, I would occasionally just like put my car in neutral, shut off the ignition, and go down the downhill S curve with no power steering.
Jeez.
And then my second car, I actually like threw the power steering pump in and had no power steering for like a good 6 months. Then Becca drove it once. It's like, you've been driving your car like this. We're getting this fixed now.
Yeah.
And then it blew the water pump and the exhaust fell off like a month later.
Hey.
No, the power steering going out was how the Sonic wagon died.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Sonic
Well,
Wagon losing
it
power
didn't
steering.
die. It was just that
Yeah.
was the point where I was like, I'm not going to fix this. I'm going to sell it.
Yep.
Because it was basically the steering rack, the power steering rack had blown a leak.
Yep.
And to replace it, you had to drop the subframe
Yeah.
from the bottom of the car. And that was so rusted because the car was a 97 Honda CRV in Michigan.
Uh-huh.
It was so rusty that it just wasn't worth me putting the time or the money into it. So I just sold it to a
Yeah.
coworker.
Yep.
Made it their problem.
Yep. I forgot that's why you got rid of the Sonic Wagon.
Yeah. I've seen it recently. It's still alive.
All right.
I recognize it because of the giant 3-inch exhaust tip on the back.
Yeah. That
I
was
was
a
slightly hoping
that was a
you were
fun
about to
car.
say because they still have the bumper stickers on it.
No, I tore those off to sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you put the OEM front badge back on
Yep.
it in place of the Sonic the Hedgehog one you made from a belt buckle.
Yep.
That
I
thing
still
was
have
so
that.
cool though.
It was. I miss it. That was still probably my favorite car that wasn't a Mustang that I've owned.
Yeah.
Honestly.
That
I
thing
wish
was
I
so
still had
cool.
that car. I had so much fun with that car that I paid $700 for.
Yeah. You had more fun per duration of ownership with that car than even I did with my Blazer.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a fun car.
It's like I paid $800 for a 94 S10 Blazer and it lasted me a whole 6 months before it spun a bearing.
Yeah.
And then I never got a chance to rebuild it because I became a parent.
Yeah. The fun thing about the Generation 1 CRV is it's got a lot of like go-kart qualities to it.
Yeah, because
They're
it's built
small
off
cars.
it's built off the same platform as the Honda Civic.
Yeah. Like they're small cars. You
Yeah.
actually the driver's seat, you actually sit up above the steering wheel in that car. They're really
Yeah.
small cars. I love them.
Yeah. We need to get another one. We need to like slap an SIV tech head on it
Yeah.
and turbo it. And
Honestly, I could probably afford to just buy another one if I could find another one for $700. It wouldn't be a terrible idea because I'm still paying off this POS Outback that I bought, but
yeah.
why not? Let's have a third car.
What makes a Subaru a Subaru? Just do the head gasket delete.
Anyway.
Sorry to traumatize everyone by losing power steering.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is kind of how it feels to like have the auto drifting on in a kart racer versus not, or having to do manual drifting. Yeah. So, and also like with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch, I think it was like our first or second time playing it. Becca asked me, "Hey, how do you drift?" So being the nice husband that I am, it's like, oh yeah, you just press the shoulder button to jump, and then from the jump you steer to which direction you're steering into, and you'll start drifting. And then if you wiggle the stick back and forth, you'll build up boost. And when you release the shoulder button, then you'll get a small little mini turbo coming out of your drift. And then Becca became the bane of my existence in Mario Kart. I love you, dear.
You actually don't need to wiggle the stick to gain boost. It'll do that automatically.
Oh, okay.
That was something
that might
came
just
about.
be a holdover from me playing Mario Kart and how drifting, or Mario Kart 64 and how drifting worked in that game.
Right. Yeah. They dropped that, I believe, with Wii. Maybe DS didn't have auto or the stick. Honestly, that would make sense if it started in DS because like doing that kind of drifting on a D-pad sounds kind of awful.
Yes.
But yeah, Wii.
I am scared to revisit Mario Kart Wii with Becca because of that. I know it sounds incredibly petty, but like, yeah. It's like Becca knowing how to drift in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe made Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with her very difficult. And she was able to translate that pretty well to Mario Kart 64 because I forgot about the whole you don't have to wiggle the stick anymore. So she's just been doing that naturally. Which means she was able to pick up Mario Kart 64 drifting immediately after she learned how to do that.
Well, I do find myself like moving the stick back and forth to steer when you're drifting.
Yes.
So like, yeah, to like go in a straight line, you do still have to wobble it.
Yeah.
But it's more because you want to control your drift better and less the boost charges up. But honestly, we have a mutual friend that comes to Magic that she says that the best Mario Kart game is always the most recent one. That like, and I kind of happen to agree with that. With like, once I played Wii, it was like I'm probably not going to back to Double Dash. Maybe I would because that one's unique, but I definitely probably will never go back to Wii because 8 is just better, just generally.
Yeah,
it has like 75% of the tracks that Wii has.
Yeah. Sorry, Mario Kart Wii.
Yeah.
It was a fun game.
Yeah.
It's just that 8 was funner and also Double Dash was funner.
Coconut Mall in Wii was a highlight though, just because it used your Wii's, or Mii's rather.
Yep.
I do remember my dad telling me after I got home from work one day that he was going to win a race and then he ran into Obama and lost the race because of it.
Oh, no.
Which I think is my favorite Mario Kart story of all time. That's happened.
Lost because of Obama.
Thanks, Obama.
Just so many fun memories encapsulated around Kart Racers.
Yep.
Yeah. If only there was a Mega Man Kart Racer. Oh wait,
Is there?
there is. Mega Man Battle and Chase. Originally, I think like a Japan and European exclusive, and then in Mega Man X Collection on the GameCube, PlayStation 2, and Xbox, it had it as a hidden unlockable. Still been meaning to try that. It's Mega Man and a kart racer.
I'm shocked you haven't yet.
Yeah, I kind of am too. Try that.
I've been you saying that reminded me. I've been loosely aware of a thing called Sonic Roboblast 2 Kart, which it uses the
What?
Roboblast 2 fan game engine to do a kart racer.
And isn't that based off of the Doom engine?
Yes. Yep.
Doom
I'm
Kart?
looking. Yeah, basically. I'm looking at it up online right now, and there's even a Doom map pack that you can buy or get in.
Nice.
It's you can create your own like assets and stuff and just port them in pretty easily. So like there's tons and tons and tons of characters out there that you can play on out in the web.
It vaguely reminded me that Super Tux Kart exists.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's
This is just reminding me of that mod for Mario Kart 64 that makes it a Dragon Ball Z kart racer.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Tux Racer looks a lot more N64-esque.
yeah. Great.
But I assume that also has like you can do custom
I would imagine
characters.
so. It's free and open source, licensed under the GPL v3 public license.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You play as all your favorite open source software mascots, like
Oh boy.
Tux, the Linux penguin, GNU, the mascot of the GNU project. It's a flying carpet. Puffy, the pufferfish from the OpenBSD project. Conky, the dragon, the mascot of the KDE project. It's my desktop of choice and also the default desktop environment of the Steam Deck. Oh, Hexley, the platypus, is the mascot of Darwin, which is like the open source component of macOS. Yeah.
Nice.
You know you want to get in on this open source action.
Let's
It's free and open source, Colin.
you know what else is free and open source?
You don't have to pay money for it.
You know what else is free and open source? Moving on to our next segment. What's up? It's our weekly Link to the Past this
I
week.
feel like Link to the Past isn't open source.
You know what?
I don't know if it is.
Don't
there-
ruin my segue.
Is there a Link to the Past compilation?
Don't ruin my segue. Anyway, releasing today on the date of recording, which is February 2, 2025. But 31 years ago, the rightful year of 1994, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, Hold the Knuckles. It was just the first part of the game. No Knuckles. Just Sonic the Hedgehog 3. It's 31 years old today. Happy birthday, Sonic.
Wow. I can't believe I'm old.
I mean, technically Knuckles is in Sonic 3, but you just can't play as him.
It's true. Wait, can you play as him in competition mode in vanilla Sonic 3?
I'm pretty sure you can. And that's why people are like, you're going to be able to play as Knuckles one day. In addition to the full fact that, like, there's areas that you can see in certain zones that are like, why can't I go there as Sonic and or Tails?
Yeah. And then there's the task that doesn't care and breaks into the Knuckles areas anyway as Sonic.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. There's actually a place you can legitimately get to if you like do a spin dash at the right minute and get into Knuckles Bath in Marble Garden. It's in the area where the landscape is like moving down.
That sounds about right. I know Marble Garden is one of the areas that definitely breaks into the Knuckles path with Sonic in the task.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, remember that time we talked about Sonic 3 and Knuckles as a
We
that one
do.
game.
That's a thing we
That was
did
our
once.
second That One game, which
It
was
was.
episode 8. Came
That
out
was a
in
long time ago.
June 28th, 2022.
Yeah,
That was a while ago.
it
That
sure
was.
was.
We're in 2025 now.
Yeah, we're gonna
Wow.
be coming up on 3 years soon.
Wow.
Like another month.
Crazy.
Yeah, that also means Mavis will be 3 soon.
Also crazy.
Because she
Why are they
came out,
growing up so fast?
yeah, she came
Stop.
out just before the first episode did.
Tell Mavis and Brinley to stop.
Stop.
I don't want them to be 3 years old yet. Stop.
just put cement blocks on their feet at night and they won't grow.
It's like my girlfriend's niece was like, I think she was 2 when we started dating, and now she's 7, and it's
Uh-huh.
scary.
Oh wow.
Make it stop.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
I'm old, Yusuke.
yeah. Anyway, happy birthday, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Go
Play
listen to some
the
Michael
original versions
Jackson's.
because you can. Michael Jackson's music is great.
Go
And
listen to some Michael Jackson to celebrate.
Yep.
And what's the other one? Hard Times, the Jetsons.
Yeah, the Jetsons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yep.
Hard times. Yeah.
You got a sample from Jam and Casino Night Zone. You've got Hard Times, basically wholesale ripped off for Ice Cap Zone.
Thank you, Brad Buxer.
Yep. The original ending credits are very similar to Stranger in Moscow.
Mm-hmm. Especially the percussion.
Yep. It's great. Go check it out.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I think I prefer Sonic 3's credits over Stranger in Moscow.
Yeah.
What if you just took the vocal tracks from Stranger in Moscow and put it on top of the Sonic 3 credit music?
I'm sure people have done that somewhere.
I'm sure they have to.
If only we knew a musician.
Huh. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe if we knew a musician that's got a brand new Fender Telecaster that he's been playing.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway. That's the end.
Yeah.
Of episode 68. Lucas, where can we find you outside the podcast?
Well, I've got a link tree with all of my important stuff in it. It's linktr.ee/Karn_evil_999. Got links to my Blue Sky because Twitter sucks. Quit using it. It's got got a link to my Twitter so that you can read back all of the stuff that I had previously posted. Not that that really was anything. It's got a link to the YouTube channel that I run. It's got video long plays of all of the games we talk about in our That One Game series of podcasts. And more, because I do have a couple of That One Game episodes of That One Game extra episodes of Phantasy Star Online episode 2.
EOGE code.
And I've got links to add me on Steam if you would like. You see what I'm up to on there. It's probably Hollow Knight because I own that game on Steam and I've been playing it. I like bugs, okay? And of course, links to catch up on our podcast and join our official podcast Discord. And that's linktr.ee/Karn_evil_999.
And where can Neal be found outside the podcast?
Also, I also have a link tree, linktr.ee/VMK89. I've got links to my Twitch channel, my YouTube channel, the podcast, all sorts of stuff. Yeah, so check that out. Honestly, I need to update this. No, looks like I did update this. Oh, nice. There we go.
You updated it while you were sleeping, so you didn't remember.
Yeah, or I've got amnesia or something.
Kingdom Hearts update by sleep.
Anyway, Colin, Where can they find you?
Also on my link tree, linktr.ee/delicious morsels. That's where my links are at. You click on that down in the description below this episode, and it takes you to my links. You find my links there. I got links
There's
to
a tree.
things in the trees. Anyway, as always, if you liked what you heard here today, please be sure to hit the subscribe button where that's an option. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify because I hear they like that stuff. Hit the like button if that's a thing, and feel free to share this episode with a friend. We're going to be back in a couple weeks with another episode, but until then, have a wonderful rest of your day, and remember,
Play for the cows.
Stay for Banjo because he's in Mario Kart, or not Mario Kart, Diddy Kong Racing.
that is correct. Farewell.